ask you this.
Yeah.
Because you said some shit. How did it help you going to that other school, the magnet school? How did that help your thought process, seeing that being a nerd or knowing information was actually, you was being praised for this?
Yeah, the first thing it did was it gave me visibility and access outside of Nashville, which I think was the most important thing. Like, I grew up in the inner city. So in kindergarten, through the 3rd grade, we were actually bused. So they bused us 40 minutes out to the suburbs so that the white kids could have some black kids that were there. They called it trying to integrate the schools. So school started at 8, but I had to be at the bus stop at 7:15 because I'm being bused all the way, which means I had to get up at 6 and all of that, right? So you go from that to now, after they bust us in the 3rd grade, I'm in a regular school system, so I live in a black neighborhood. All the kids are black, you know what I mean? That's what it is, you know, whatever. So when I went to Meg's, when I went to the magnet school, that's when, one, I was exposed to all of these different things, like all of these myriads of possibilities, right? All of the job opportunities, all of these different cultures. I never would have seen, I'll never forget, there was a little girl named Elizabeth McFadden Ketchum. Like, that was her name. That was the first time I'd ever seen a hyphenated name, but her father was German, right? There was a guy named Ob Jaworski who was Polish, right? I had never been exposed to all of these different diverse cultures in this type of environment. So it helped me a lot. One, because it helped me see I wasn't as smart as I thought I was, right? Because school is easy till I went to the magnet school. Then you're around a whole bunch of other people that are smart just like you, and that it's a humbling experience because the shit is not easy, right?
It's like being in Atlanta around a whole bunch of dope poets, and you
go.
realize you dope, but it's some motherfuckers killers up there.
That's how it was for me in the 5th grade, right?
Right.
And so now I'm exposed to all of these very smart people who are smarter than me, all of these different cultures, all of these different experiences. And so it was amazing because then it really helped me not be afraid of what was outside of Nashville, of leaving Nashville. So when I went back to junior high, I'm back in the inner city. You know what I mean? All the kids are black. I go back to high school. 98% of the folks that went to my high school were black. There was only a 2% white population. There were 400 people in my freshman class. I'll never forget this. 400 people in my freshman class when they did the freshman assembly. We graduated 148. Right? So between the time I was a freshman and I was a senior, 200 and something people just kind of disappeared throughout the process, right? But again, all inner city, all black folks. I got a presidential scholarship to Tennessee State, an HBCU. One of the best decisions I ever made. However, right, what happened was I am now in an environment where it's an HBCU. I'm around all black folks. I now graduate from Tennessee State. I get a job working for HP in Maryland. I'm now in corporate America, where I go from being in a population that is 98% black to I am now the 2%, you know what I mean, or whatever. So I would say that going to that school helped me, one, because I'd already been exposed to different cultures. I understood the differences in how you move and all of those things that wasn't completely foreign, you know, to me in that regard. But it also helped me not be afraid, because when I graduated from Tennessee State, a bunch of the people that I graduated with, they all went to the guidance counselor and said, I want a job in the city where they're from. So they came from Memphis. They were like, hey, I want to interview with companies from Memphis that are looking for a computer science major. If they were from Michigan, same thing. Me, I went to the guidance counselor. I was like, I want anybody who's looking for a computer science major. I interviewed with 11 different companies. I had 9 different job offers from everywhere from Rhode Island to Plano, which is right outside of Dallas, to Birmingham, Alabama, all of these. And I ultimately ended up taking HP in Maryland. Because they offered me the most money, but that's what it was. But there's no way that I would have had the confidence, the tenacity to move to a city that I had never been to, never seen, didn't know anybody whatsoever to work for a new company, had I not already been in that experience to see that there is so much life outside of just Nashville, Tennessee.
The bubble, most definitely. All right, let me ask you one more question about this. When they pulled you out of the school and put you back into the public school, how was that? How did that affect your thought process?
It was difficult, because I will tell you that when you're in a school full of nerds, nobody fucking cares about what you have on. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot easier to wear the Payless shoes, to have, you know what I'm saying, the Walmart corduroys. Now, don't get me wrong, there was a subset of that was there. You know what I mean? There was, but it was not the majority. It was not the norm, right? So I could get away with rocking some McGregors or some Ponies or some XJ900s or some Pro Spirits, some Pro Wings. I'm saying all that because I remember, you know what I mean? I feel a flashback, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But I could do that. Like, I could wear that there in that environment because nobody really cared about what you had going on. It was an environment of higher learning, and so that was where the focus was. So you take me out of that. You now put me in an environment where a bunch of the kids knew each other because they've gone to the same middle school and they've gone to the same junior high, and now they all know each other, and I am the new kid who's not the new kid, right? I live in the same neighborhood as y'all. I just didn't go to middle school, so y'all don't know who I am. So now I'm the new kid who's not the new kid, who's wearing the buddies, who's answering all the questions in class, right? who's doing it. Like, yo, who is this dude? Like, he's a lame, you know what I mean? Or whatever the case, right? So then what happens? I withdraw. I know the answers, but I don't want to answer because I think that and I become more introverted, right? I don't want to draw attention to myself because somebody gonna talk about my jeans, somebody gonna talk about my shoes, you know what I mean? Or
this
whatever.
Motherfucker think he know everything. Shit like that in the background.
That's it. So I become, and that's the cycle, right? Like that's how you come full circle to it. And so yes, I withdrew. I knew all the answers. I knew all those things, but I don't want to draw attention to myself because I don't want them to say shit about me. I just want to get my grades and get the fuck out. Like that's what it was. So
you know what's funny? We talking about this. This is one of the things now that I'm older, I often ask myself, how many people, how many dichotomies or Bill Gates do we have on our end that has been manipulated into not showing their full potential throughout school, throughout life? You understand? Like,
yeah, that's been a challenge. That's been a challenge in the Black community for a while, right? It's and they tell you all the time that we give more cred to people who have been to jail than people who kind of go to college, right? You are teased for being smart or for being a nerd or for doing all those things.
That's marketing.
Instead
that's
of
all it is marketing.
Oh, absolutely.
Who was the mastermind behind that marketing system?
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. I mean I think that now we're a lot more intelligent and aware of it from that perspective.
Yeah.
But like, hey man, growing up in my day, it was about what you wore, what you had on. It wasn't about what your grades were.
I don't know. I think it's like that now too. Because when you it's like that now. It's funny, we was talking about that. I told my son, I said, let me tell you like this. I said, all the people you think nerds, these motherfuckers be a manager or director or president.
Yeah.
I said, knowing information is the best thing you can do for yourself. I said, anytime you think you laughing at people about what they got on, I say, that shit. I said, everybody you think the shit in high school, when you get out of school, probably 2 people probably.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, and it's interesting. I was.
Am I tripping?
No, not because I'm that guy, right? Like I'm the nerdy, introvert, quiet guy who wore the Pro Wings, you know what I mean, or whatever. And now I am what I am, right? Like I've done well for myself in that regard, and it's not, from a braggadocious nature. It's just saying that.
You did the work.
To your point, right? Yeah. A lot of the people who I envied when I was in high school, I would not want to be where they are versus where I am. So.
Yeah. That's funny.